name is Deidra, and this is my spiritual integration video blog assignment. I have read through the required resources by Smith 2019 and Mattis 2018, as well as revisiting both the ACA and the ASCA. After reading the Integration or Separation, Addressing Religious and Spiritual Issues in Multicultural Counseling, a national survey of college counselors, it was quick for me to understand that it could be hard to hold my religious beliefs with that of someone who is in a different culture. So after thinking through it, I do not think that I would be able to openly share my beliefs with all students. So how would that affect them? How would they feel if I talked about my beliefs and in the chance that the student is an atheist? I can only imagine that that might make them very uncomfortable or even defensive if I believe in God and they do not. I know with informed consent and the outlines of services, I may or may not know their beliefs. So is it fair for them that I share my views with them? Is it fair for me, though, not to talk about what I believe? So after reading through, it was seen that the results of the survey that most felt that these spiritual and religious trainings should happen and that it should not affect the multiculturalism from Smith 2019. Then after reading the second resource, a working model for the integration of spirituality in counseling, it talks about a SAG, a spiritual awareness guide. I had never heard of that, and after reading more into the resource, it seems that it's still a basis of the client's treatment and the goals that have been made to give treatment. However, it's also something that is not a God-defined concept from the Mattis 2018. With all that I have read, it seems that it would create a more diverse course of action to meet the needs of the clients, even if that includes the spiritual aspect. I think each counselor will have to determine the level of comfort of their own spirituality to meet the needs of their clients. I would see this more so a personal decision. It would allow me to know each client even more and be able to meet their spiritual level and to introduce my level of spirituality within the counseling guidelines. I think this would give me the opportunity just to kind of know and understand how they really feel, what their level of spirituality is, and can I help them maybe with questions or concerns that they have in relation to their spiritual beliefs. However, if they're a completely different culture and I don't understand their physical, spiritual beliefs, I'm not sure how much I could really help. So I feel that that would be a really hard aspect of the counseling. However, I think through continued education of my own and to really reach into the different cultures that I may be working with, that might give me a little more understanding of their cultures. And then too, the client itself would be a really good resource. They could fill me in about what their culture is and what their own cultural beliefs are. And between their beliefs and also my beliefs, we may have several things that are in common and be able to meet those needs in those areas. And I think that's important. I think it's important to get to know your clients and to get them comfortable with working with you and creating goals and meeting goals in order to be able to better themselves. The one thing that I've really thought about with reviewing the code of ethics, there was just a struggle that I had. One code that I really struggle with, of course, we talked about the values aspect. It was mentioned in the outline of the assignment. But after reading the A4B, personal values, and counselors are aware and avoid imposing their own values, attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors, and that counselors respect the diversity of clients, trainees, and research participants, and seek training in areas in which they are at risk of imposing their values onto clients, especially when the counselor's views are inconsistent with the client's goals or discriminatory of nature. And that was from the ACA Code of Ethics 2014. It really just made me wonder, if I am understanding of my spiritual beliefs and the client's spiritual beliefs, would I be breaching this code of ethics? I think that if I am researching, furthering my education of how to set and know the proper limits, that I should be okay. My interest was also piqued by another code of ethics, the A4A, Avoiding Harm Counselors Act, to avoid harming their clients, trainees, and research participants, and to minimize or remedy unavoidable and unanticipated harm from the ACA Code of Ethics 2014. Would my spiritual beliefs cause harm to any of my clients if they have different beliefs? How would they feel if they know I'm a Christian and they are not? Would they feel violated or emotional distressed because we do not have the same beliefs? And again, I assume this would come into play as I would go through informed consent with them. And through that informed consent, have that religious belief on there. However, what if they don't fill that out? What if they leave it blank? What if it's not something that they're comfortable talking about? So would I breach that code of ethic? I mean, maybe that calls it not to be harmful if it's mentioned in the code of, not in the code of ethics, if it's mentioned in the informed consent. That maybe again, it's an aspect that they're really not comfortable talking about. It would give me the chance to determine if I am the right counselor for them, though. Maybe they would like to work with me, knowing my spiritual background. And again, maybe not. This would allow them to determine next steps for them as a client. So that would give them the option to know these are my spiritual beliefs as your counselor. However, if you're not comfortable with those, we can always find someone who could meet your needs. And then I branched this off into the ASCA Ethical Standards for School Counselors. Because you have students on a religious level as well, but what level do their family have? So that brought me to A, responsibility to students, A.1, supporting student development, F, respect students' and families' values, beliefs, sexual orientation, gender identification, expression, and cultural background, and exercise great care to avoid imposing professional beliefs or values rooted in one's religion, culture, or ethnicity. So, if this is the situation and I'm concerned about my beliefs and using them in counseling students, so how is that going to work in reference to the standard? I think the one thing in my school is that it is a big school. Our community is very religious based. There's literally churches everywhere in our county. It is a close-knit community where everyone pretty much knows everyone. There are different family values, of course, in each family. Some are open to religion, where others are not. So it'd be interesting to hold student sessions, especially without invading religion or culture. So my question to myself is how can I make it to where everyone is respected in their basic needs and beliefs and religious background and not being disrespected? So I have to know either their family beliefs or maybe contact their family just to do a check-in and get a feel for their thoughts about religion. I would really have to look at my groups to determine who has the same demographics before just throwing kids together and causing a train wreck. It is really a lot to take in. I do not want my students, especially if you're talking about religion, and one family may know nothing religious and have no spiritual background, while another student may go to church every single Sunday and Wednesday and may be in Sunday school and have learned about God and the things that He can do. How would that make a student feel if one knew about religion and one did not? So would I be breaching that ethic standard? How would the family feel if I am talking about religion with their child and they're not comfortable with that? time to understand how this is going to work in my school setting. Because no matter what, I absolutely love my students. And I only want what's the best for them and for their families. And I just do not want my beliefs to impact their beliefs or their needs, because that is what's most important. So thank you for listening to my spiritual integration video blog. Please feel free to send me questions or comments, and I'll be happy to answer